Most of the buyers buying here have a beautiful home somewhere else. They're looking for something special. They're looking for a gem.
Everybody looks at real estate from the outside in, and they see just sold in 8 days.
What I tell buyers, let's not worry about the house right away. Let's find your lifestyle. I think it's more about figuring out where you want to be and trying to make that happen.
Hey guys, welcome to Closing the Coast, presented by our friends over at Southern Tide. I'll be your host, Dillon Staples, and this podcast will dive into entrepreneurship, investment, real estate, and a whole host of other topics. We're really looking forward to having you with us, so sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Welcome to Closing the Coast. I'm Dillon Staples, and we are here with
Charlotte Gannaway.
Hi, Charlotte. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
All right. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about who you are, your relationship to me, and maybe a little icebreaker. What is your favorite restaurant in Carmel?
In Carmel, this like for breakfast, lunch, dinner?
Let's do something like
Meeting a friend.
Let's do dinner.
Dinner. I was going to go to dinner in Carmel. That's a tough one.
There's only 65 options. So
Well, it depends. Like if I'm with John and, we're not big go to dinner people. We're kind of like go to 3 to 5, have a drink and some snacks. It's a nice day out. We might go to the rooftop at Vesuvio because I like that environment.
Rooftop at Vesuvio. I actually know the answer to this before I asked it.
You do?
Yeah. It's technically a Carmel address, but not in downtown Carmel. And I think you know what I'm going to say is...
Oh, are you Baja Cantina?
Baja Cantina.
Well, we kind of live at Baja Cantina. I don't know if that's my favorite. We like the bartenders and we like to sit up at the bar and talk to them.
That's awesome.
But if we're going, if we're talking about the greater Carmel area, I'd say Cafe Rustica. Very
good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. One of the best dinners in town. So
for sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do for work? What is our relation? And kind of just give us a little bit of background on it.
All right. So I am a real estate agent and I'm your business partner. So I have been doing real estate in Carmel for the last 16 years. Mm-hmm. And 5 years ago, you stumbled onto our team. And pretty quickly, I realized that you were somebody I'd want to be in business with long term. And so we've partnered up. We have a third partner, the one that I was in business with prior to you coming along and over the last 5 years. And she's starting to transition into more of a referral agent and focusing on some other things in her life other than just real estate. It's a good partnership and something I enjoy a lot.
So our third partner, Jen Weathers, who's been in the business for 2 decades here in Carmel, adored by all of her clients. And we have all been a team for the last 5 years. And so, as you said, Jen's moving into a more, client relations role and a referral partner position with us. So is that so we've seen the Weathers Gannaway, and then we had Weathers Gannaway in Staples. And so now we're moving into a new era, launching the brand Staples Gannaway team. Tell us a little bit about that transition with the brand, who we have on the team, what their roles are, and give us a little background on that.
Sure. So you've covered Jen, and then you and I are principals on the team. We have a third agent that we've been talking to that we'll probably bring on to the team. And then we have Anna, who is our marketing coordinator, hub, wearer of all hats. And currently we also have a marketing consultant that we're working with that is part of the team.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So we just went through some interesting years in real estate, specifically local Carmel, Monterey Peninsula, broader markets here. And we had 2022, which was, obviously a hot year for us. 2023, things were kind of a mixed bag. We had interest rates go up, but we also had, that low inventory that kept buyers engaged. 2024 had to be my weirdest year in real estate, obviously probably not yours, but in the last 5 years, it was probably one of the stranger ones because we still had low inventory, but we were, seeing a mixed bag because both the sellers and the buyers were apprehensive. You had the election, people nervous about that. You had obviously the holiday season toward the end of the year, but the beginning of the year was really busy. So what do you think? How do you think that those things affected our 2023 to 2024? Obviously our business grew substantially between those years, but tell us a little bit more about why you think that may have happened, or why you think the team kind of went, to a higher sale volume
Sure.
in a year that was strange.
I think that what's really interesting to me is that recently I went back, and we normally look at things over the last couple of years, but I went back 10 years because it seems that the pattern of low inventory, it dropped off the cliff in 2020, and it has stayed the same ever since. And I don't see that going away for a long time because I think that we still have a lot of people that refinanced in 2020 at 2.75%.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't afford really to sell their home, because if they do, they have to buy a home not only at the higher price, but higher price and higher interest. So I think that's going to stick around for a while. I think that it was a number of things that made the year great for our team. One, we focus on specific client base. We consider ourselves kind of a boutique luxury market, and I think we stayed true to that. We have a lot of referral business that comes in from past clients, and then a lot of referral business that comes in from agents across the country that we've met at different retreats and whatnot. And I think it was a combination of prices have continued to go up. We have a low inventory, and we've got a great client base that we work with.
Right. So I think what was, most interesting, if you study our last 5 years, at least since I've been here, and even beyond, is in the last few years, I think we've been blessed, obviously, with clients that are interested and own very unique and special properties, but also have been intentional about marketing our services to those more boutique properties that match well with our level of service and attention to detail and storytelling. So I think, in those last few years, obviously, we've continued to be aggressive. We've put in new marketing campaigns and certainly focused efforts to grow the business. But I think also we've specialized in understanding the heritage and legacy properties on the peninsula. And I think clients that own those kind of properties really appreciate working with people that also value those and know that those properties have a story to tell. So why don't you give us a little bit of color on, the last year and a half or 2 years that we've been focusing on those and some of the efforts we've done?
Yeah, I think it's interesting for me. One of the first properties that we closed this year was Yankee Beach Way. And that was a property that took a considerable amount of time to get to the market. One, just letting the family work through clearing it out and kind of work through the dynamics in the family. And then two, some work that needed to be done on the property. Mm-hmm. So back to kind of us as a team, taking that time and just being patient and working with people on their timeline. And then the property we closed yesterday, the sellers on Mentone, they mentioned to me that the first time that we came by was 7 years ago. And they were trying to decide when they were going to sell. They were going to wait another 2 years to put that on the market, but they ended up deciding that they had 2 moves in them if they weren't going to get into exactly where they wanted to be. In the end, they did end up getting a replacement property exactly where they wanted it. But I think that that's part of how we work also, is that just working with people and figuring out when it's right for them. We have a joke that we talk about a client that took 4 years to buy a house, and they ended up being really dear friends. So when we tell people that it doesn't matter how long it's going to take you, we'll wait and we'll do it on your time.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think, specifically that Yankee Beach property and a lot of the properties that we handle. So I think everybody looks at real estate from the outside in, and they see just sold in 8 days. They see, the glitz and the glamour of these special properties that exist, around us, and we get to go and tour them and show our clients them. And there certainly is that component. And spending time at Yankee Beach Way, which is cantilevered over a cliff, overlooking the ocean, was certainly not, something that we considered a chore. But I think all the process that went into that, if you think back, that was 18 months from
Yeah.
start to sale. So over a year and a half, just marketing the property and getting it ready for sale, not to mention all the time before that we were talking to the client and getting ready to list. So we had to clean out the house. We had to prep it for market, get it painted, get it staged, and fix all of the landscaping that was there, and then present it to the market. And once we were there, it wasn't like, okay, it's easy sailing now, right? Like, it was a very specific property, mid-century house with a very unique layout, and so finding that right buyer was also another challenge in marketing. So I think when people look at real estate, sometimes it seems easy, sometimes it seems glamorous, but there are a lot of processes that take quite a lot of intention in completing and making sure that they get to the finish line. And it's
Yeah.
not always upload and 7 days later you have the sale.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what is something that you think separates us specifically in the marketing and digital marketing component from other competitors that sell here in the Monterey Peninsula area?
I think that we have a really sweet spot in that we usually have something that's closing probably once every 3 weeks or so. So we do a nice volume of business, but it's not such a high volume of business that anybody gets lost. I feel like the meeting that we have every Monday, which is a marketing meeting, and we go through each listing. I think that each listing, regardless if it's a little condo over in Monterey or some beautiful estate down in the Highlands, gets the same attention. And whether it's we need to have it reshot, I mean, I feel like we have houses reshot often because we decide it's not getting enough attention, it's not getting enough clicks, there's not enough eyeballs on it. And then I think that the movies that we've been doing have really been beneficial for some properties. There's, I think people looking at properties across the country and having something interesting to look at other than just an MLS feed
Right.
helps people understand what the house is all about and how it lives.
Right. And
Mhm.
just to add a little color to that, so that's Jonathan, Jessica, Hugo of 17th and Ocean do our videography. They're great. And I think what's specifically interesting is when you talk to people and you talk to clients and you talk to just people in general, they watch real estate videos, and the age-old real estate video that started happening when people realized that video was a necessity for some listings and certainly in the real estate space is almost moving photos of a house, right?
Mhm.
And during COVID, it was important because it gave you a little bit more perspective when you weren't in person. But it just kind of became this constant low common denominator in your marketing, which is here's a basic video of rooms of a house. And I think when we started talking, we were like, okay, well, if we're going to invest in doing video and invest in doing it with partners like the Hugos that do a very high quality of video, how are we going to differentiate those so that those are dollars well spent, but they also help truly give the consumer an idea of the lifestyle of the home, of maybe its story if it's a historic or heritage property, so that we can bring to life the things that we're trying to bring to life in the marketing.
Yeah, I think the thing is that I think that the traditional home video does a great job of helping somebody understand the floor plan, which is hard to do in still photos. When you can actually walk through a house, it makes you understand which room is attached to the other room, how you enter, how you exit the house, kind of thing. So I think they're useful. But what I tell buyers that are coming to the Monterey Peninsula is let's not worry about the house right away. Let's find your lifestyle. Because if you live in the valley like I do, and you have chickens and bees, it's very different than if you live in downtown Carmel or living in the Highlands or the weather's different, where you go to dinner's different, what you do on your day-to-day life is different. And
Mhm.
so I think that the movie videos help that. they help people see this is the lifestyle that I'm going to be having in this home.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the main thing that brings, a deeper sense of connection with the property. And I think also when we're talking to sellers and we're telling them, "Hey, we really think a video would be worthwhile." I think the thing that we need to separate, and we do separate with our sellers, is, "Hey, this isn't just your traditional static home tour video. This is a video that creates something special about your property. It creates an aura or just a general understanding of how it lives and the kind of heartbeat of the home, because there are a number of really special and unique properties on the Monterey Peninsula. I mean, everybody knows that. We just have some beautiful architecture. We're really blessed to be in a place where capital has come in and made some just incredible homes here. But each house has its own story, and the buyers that are buying into this market want to have something special. That's why they're typically attracted to our peninsula.
For sure. I mean, I've had buyers, a lot of buyers who come to Carmel and they start in the Golden Rectangle because they think they want to be there. And then they realize that they can't live in 1,600 square feet, so they need something bigger. And we start to move out to other areas. But they'll go into a home and they'll say, I don't want it to feel like what I have at home. Most of the buyers buying here have a beautiful home somewhere else, and they want it to feel like they're on the Monterey Peninsula. As you said, they're looking for something special. They're looking for a gem. And I think that the lifestyle video helps them see that.
I completely agree. And especially when we're talking about some of those homes that are in higher price points, our whole peninsula is a higher price point when compared with the national average. But when you're talking about homes that are truly, targeted to a specific, very hyper-specific group of buyers, those people are exposed to luxury on an everyday basis. Everything that they exist with is luxury. So truly going beyond, hey, this has this type of range, this has this, shots of Taj Mahal quartzite countertops, and talking about what is it specifically about this property that is so different that if I just replicated the house itself, couldn't exist next door. Right? Or couldn't exist in San Diego, or couldn't exist in San Francisco. So that's certainly something that I think is really kind of unique about our marketing.
I agree. I do.
So heading into 2025, we hear the NAR, we hear, Wall Street Journal, we hear that, squawking on the street. Everybody's accounting for a 12 to 15% rise in volume in real estate. What do you think?
I do think we're going to have more volume. I was just saying that to a client yesterday. I think that we're still going to have low inventory. What did we say in areas 140 through
about 32 houses in
west
Greater
of Highway
Carmel,
1.
west of Highway 1.
West of Highway 1. And this time of year, maybe there should be 65. During July, there should be 105. We haven't had 100 homes in Carmel for sale in 5 years. I think we've capped at like 60. So I think that we will have more, but I don't think that it will be the what would be a normal amount. And I don't see prices going down though with that. I just don't.
Yeah.
There's just not enough inventory.
Yeah. And Fed's talking about a quarter point by potentially end of year. We're already expecting people to get re-engaged in the new year. And so another quarter point off the mortgage rates will only incentivize more people to get off the sidelines. But what's specifically interesting is I think a lot of people that are involved in real estate as buyers or sellers hear the same thing from their agent. They're talking out of one side of the mouth saying it's the best time to buy real estate, and talking out of the other side saying it's the best time to sell real estate. And sometimes those things are true, mutually, true at the same time. But at the same, on the flip side, sometimes those things are, mutually exclusive. They don't exist together.
I think the market's pretty healthy right now as far as there is some negotiation. There's not a ton of competition as far as multiple offers. When we do see multiple offers right now, it's when something has sat for a little while, and then finally a couple people come to the table, which happens more than people believe. But I think that as we get more inventory and rates drop a little bit, it'd still probably be healthy, or at least healthier than it was back in 2022 when it kind of got wild.
So if I'm a buyer or a seller headed into 2025, and my goal is to have a house sold or a house bought by the end of 2025, what's your advice?
Don't try to overthink the market. Just look at your timing, figure out what's right for you, and do it. It's not a market that you can figure out and think, well, I'm going to strategically do this timed on some thing that you think is going to happen. We were told that interest rates were going to drop 3 times, and then they didn't. And I just don't think that this is a market that you can try to strategize your way into a better position. If it's the right time to buy a house, let's go find you one. If it's the right time to sell your house, let's go ahead and sell it. You've made great equity. Figure out where you're going to go. I think it's more about figuring out where you want to be and trying to make that happen.
Absolutely. So, greatest piece of advice that you've given or received in real estate that you would share with a potential buyer or seller?
Get into the market. I believe firmly in building wealth off of real estate.
Absolutely. So, Staples Gannaway launching into 2025. Lots of surprises along the way. I think during the year that'll be great. We'll announce those things. We're very excited about what's to come, and looking forward to growing our business and working with more people that kind of share our passion for homes, architecture, heritage, legacy, and obviously the greater Monterey Peninsula that we live here and love. So thank you so much for coming on today. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.